Hey there, bestie. I'm Laurie Cass, your What to Read Next podcast host. Join me as we dive into exciting new reads that'll have you reaching for your TBR pile in no time. From group of mysteries to spicy romances, we'll explore it all and help you find your next favorite book. So grab a cup of tea, cozy it up, and let's discover some amazing reads together. Hi, Laurie. Welcome to What to Read Next podcast.
Thank you very much, Laura. I appreciate taking the time to interview me.
I am very excited to chat with you. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm basically a lifelong Michigander. I lived in Connecticut for a very short while, but basically I lived in Michigan all my life.
Mm-hmm.
And these books are Bookmobile Cat books are kind of set in Northwest Lower Michigan, which is where I live now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely a place that I'm familiar with. I grew up in the 80s, or went to college in the 80s, got a degree in geology because I wanted to work outside. And now I've had an office job it was actually 40 years this year that I had. It's like I looked around, it's like, crap, I've had an office job for 40 years. So much for that geology degree. But no, things have basically worked out for me. And I started writing seriously in 1998. I think I decided I was going to try and write a book. I remember exactly the moment I decided I was actually going to do it. And I was terrified. It's like, oh my God, how do I do this? I don't know how to do this. My husband looks at me and he said, well, just start writing. Oh, well, that's actually pretty good advice. So he's not a reader, so I rate them faster than he reads them. But he keeps me fed and watered while I write. So it all kind of works out. So yeah, I started writing seriously in 1998. I think my first one was awful. I think it was a romance or something. And then I wrote kind of a mystery, which made sense because I mostly read mysteries, or certainly did at the time. And then 6 1/3 books later, in 11 years, I got my first publishing contract. So,
Oh, no,
yeah, so I'm a late bloomer and a slow learner, but I got there. So, and that was my first series was PTA Mystery Series. Laura Alden was my pen name for that. And that was a 5-book series. And then kind of in the middle there, I came up with a Bookmobile series. And it's been running. 12th book will be out next week and 13th will be out next year. So it's been
You're chugging along, giving Minnie a run for her money for amateur slowly. So it's not just a Bookmobile series. Much of what would you expect? What can we expect from the series about the amateur sleuth? Characters, setting. You mentioned a little bit about being set in Michigan, Northern Michigan, but what other things we should expect? It's a Bookmobile, which is actually
it's Bookmobile.
Yeah.
I mean, it being in the cozy genre, it's nothing horrible happens to small children. Nothing horrible happens to pets, of course. Typically, only the bad people get killed, although not always. But there's typically no bad language. They're very comforting reads. The world comes to rights in the end. And particular books this is Northwest Lower Michigan. So on the mitten, it's up by your tip of your pinky kind of a thing. Although it's not real, it's kind of made up of a bunch of different parts of Northwest Lower Michigan. It kind of floats around, kind of Brigadoon-like. I never really pinned it down. I realized at one point, it's like, don't think I've ever really said where it is. Oh, that works out good. So it's kind of an amalgam of a bunch of different bits in different counties. But I do refer to real places, and I try to make it obvious when I do. But yeah, the actual physical library that I describe in this series is the actual library in Charlevoix, Michigan, which is a gorgeous library. And I actually did a talk there a couple of years ago when my books came out, and I think it was Crime That Binds actually has that library on the cover. So I thought that was really cool that they got their library on the cover of a real book. So that was kind of fun. But yeah, so a lot of in my day job, I work in the public sector. So, and my previous to that, when I worked in the private sector, I was in the civil engineering and surveying field. So a lot of those kinds of jobs and knowledge make it into my books because that's what I happen to know. But they're just a lot of fun to write. And the cat stuff is always entertaining. Eddie, the main cat in the book, he's based on a real cat that we had for many years. He's gone on to his reward now, but and I kind of leave it up to the reader to decide whether or not Eddie's actually helping solve the mysteries. Minnie doesn't think Minnie has no clue. My main character, she has no idea that Eddie's trying to help her. If he is, I leave it up to the reader. So it's kind of a fun little thing.
I love this. And so I was watching some kayaking, but I know you love to row.
Questions about this because we're in the Olympics, so we might as well just be like next. That's a big.
Yeah. My husband and I, we live on a lake, a family property. We can't actually afford to live here because buying property like this is really expensive. So yeah, we're fortunate enough to live on a gorgeous lake, and I try to get out rowing as much as I can. It's being on the water first thing in the morning while there's water, it's flat and sun's just come up and nobody else is out there. It's really nice. And it took me, I got my first skull, well, my only skull, 10 years ago now, something like that.
Yeah.
And it took me like a full year being on the water to figure out actually how to row straight. It's harder than you think.
Imagine. I am in awe. I'm like seriously in awe.
Yeah. Oh, it's fun. It's like, I remember watching, you're probably too young to remember, there was a series called Kojak.
Yeah.
I think it was Telly Savalas. And then there's a little bit on that, the intro. I don't know where he lived. I don't remember so long ago. Boston, maybe. Anyway, and there's a scene at the very beginning of the intro to the TV show where he's rowing. And it's like, that looks really fun. So ever since then, I was probably 10 years old when I saw that. It's like, so I finally got the opportunity to try it. And it's like, yeah, that's just what I like to do. Just what I like to do. I never did it. I mean, it always looked fun, but it was when I went to college and I guess I don't even know the school. I went to Eastern Michigan. I don't know if they had a crew team or not. I wasn't, I guess, that interested in it at that point. There probably was, but I didn't get into it. So yeah, it's late to it, but it's pretty cool. And you can go really fast, get going with rowing. It's just the nature of the beast. They're faster in kayaks because you could just that much more with the sliding seat. You can just go faster.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Thank you for indulging me in this conversation.
Oh yeah.
My favorite sports kayak is the rock bridge kayaking in Olympic sport where they have to go like this course and they go back.
Oh yeah.
It's a double shebang. Yep. But I love watching through, like watching the rowers like down the river and trying to figure out like how they're gonna make it to the end. I'm like, this is fascinating. I know there's a lot of, especially when you're doing this team, there's a whole lot of like you have to practice and you said you're all in the same place. Otherwise, to mess up, the whole thing's mess up.
Yes, but yeah, the 8-mans, the 8s they're a thing of beauty to watch. I mean, they're so incredibly synchronized. And when it clicks, when they're all just moving in motion, because 8 people doing the exact same thing, exact same time, that's a skill. It takes a lot of practice to get that kind of the synchronicity going. It's really cool to watch.
It does. All right, let's talk about a no plot to stand on, which is your release that's coming out next week. Talk to us about what can we expect, what's happening to Minnie.
Oh, I actually have a copy of it right here. So I got to remember because I wrote this like a year and a half ago. Oh yeah, her best friend runs a kind of fancy restaurant. And she's got new babies, new twins, her friend Kristen does. And there's a kind of a poisoning at the restaurant. And so the reputation is everything in restaurants. So Minnie decides she has to help Kristen because Kristen's kind of distracted with the infants. And so if someone's going to save the restaurant, it's going to be Minnie. And then someone dies, someone's poisoned the same way in a similar ways to the mild poisoning of the incident. And so Minnie discovers that body, of course, and she gets even deeper involved. And and I believe this is the flipping here. This is Minnie has been dating this man named Rafe for many books now, and this is the book where they actually get married.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's been coming for quite a while. Actually, the first took a few books for her to get, because she's known Rafe since she was a little kid. And I remember the very first book I wrote, her love interest was someone else entirely. And my editor said, it's like, oh, I bet she ends up with Rafe at the end. I go, no, she won't.
12 books later.
Yep. Editors know. It's like, no, that's not right. They're just friends. It's like, nope.
Oh, I love this. We got friends to lovers and the romance trope. So I love this. Oh, so it's exciting to have up, but there are 12 books in the series. They can be mostly read as a standalone, Nick, you want to.
Yeah, I try very hard. I mean, the characters, you're not going to know everything about the character, of course, but the plots absolutely stand alone. They don't hinge on anything. I kind of tell people, it's like, yeah, you can read them from the beginning or you pick one up. It's getting to know a person.
Yes.
You don't learn everything about them all at once. You learn it eventually. And each book, you learn a little bit more about the people. So I try to very hard to make each book stand alone.
All right. So I asked this question to most of my cozy mystery authors, and it's what's a favorite way to kill a character? Because that's your business. You've got to kill them in some way. You can poison them, you can plug in, you can actually like shoot them, or they can die in an accident or whatever it is. But what's your favorite way to kill a character?
It's kind of funny. I don't think too much about that. It kind of grows out of okay. When I'm writing my books, I start with the time of year.
Okay.
Because I'm in Northwest Lower Michigan. It's cold here a lot. And when it's summer, there's a lot of people around because of all the tourists. Our population at least triples in the summer, not more on the weekends. And so a lot of what happens, who gets killed and why they get killed matters a lot because of time of year.
Okay.
And it's like for instance, one book I had, someone died during maple syrup season, which is in March and April. So that methodology would be way different. I guess I don't even remember how that person died, come to think of it, because that was like 8 books ago. So the methodology depends on time of year, who it is, what the situation is. I think I've had multiple car accidents. I had the one poisoning. Boy, I don't remember. I think I had a drowning or 2.
Yeah.
Yes, I had a couple of drownings.
You're more methodical. You're more methodical about like the scene of the crime, like what it's sudden scene. Like let's figure out. Let's go backwards. So it's like understand like where it's happening, what's happening, who is it going to be killed, and then what makes that character to you.
Yeah, it's more less about the method and more the how and the why and the where. I think I've had a couple of people been shot. The one I'm writing right now, the victim was actually shot with a bow and arrow because it was bow season for deer hunting. So. Was it an accident or was it a murder? So that kind of, I guess I had that with a rifle a few number of books ago, but it was so long ago. I don't, it's like, I know some people get concerned. It's like, well, I already killed somebody that way. And it's like, yeah. And
you can do a little tweak around it.
It was books ago and people get killed. I don't feel the need to be creative, I guess, with my killing methodologies because it's not, to me, it's not that much a part of the book. And for some people, it is. The methodology can actually add a lot to the plot itself, but my brain just doesn't work that way.
There we go. Listen, so let's talk some weird recommendations. You know how many books to recommend our listeners to pick out?
Lots of books, so many books. Looking around.
Right.
I mean, I guess I think more in terms of authors than titles. I know, anyway, you were sticking with cozies. There's so many good ones. Krista Davis, a friend of mine, she very popular, the Diva series and the Wags and
it's the
and the color one too. Yeah, she's a 100% series. Daryl Wood Gerber, she's also a great series. Sophie Kelly, lots of good stuff. Laura Childs, so many good writers out there. But it's outside of cozies, there's so many. What was I just reading? Oh, Karen Slaughter. Anything by her. Oh my gosh, she's so good. I saw she gave a lecture in Traverse City Town a few years ago and talked and saw the lecture and got it's like, okay, Karen, ask a question here. Because I did a Q&A. And I said, it's like, okay, I just picked up, I don't remember which book, I think it was Cop Town. And the very first scene, and I had no idea if it's going to be a recurring character or not, but the character there was so much depth to the character that she conveys it in like 2 paragraphs. I don't know how she does it. She's amazing. Just really knows her characters inside and out. And so I kind of asked her, do you just come to you? Do you do kind of character sketches? What do you do? She goes, I just write. It's like, okay, all right. You don't know how you do it. Perfect.
Yeah, I got to talk to Karen 3 or 4 years ago. Like, I think it was your pandemic. I was in a different apartment. And she was like, it was a delight to talk to her. But like, the amount of depth that she does, but at the same time, it's like you can replicate that. Like,
She's amazing. And Laurie King, I'll read anything by her.
Yeah.
I think she's amazing too. There's so many. And what was I reading recently? I think it said it in the thingy. Robin McKinley. She writes fantasy type stuff. And I reread that Spindle's End for the first time. So, advantage of getting older is I remembered hardly any of it. It's like, I read this because I bought it. I remembered very little of it, but she's incredible world building.
Yeah.
And it's like, I wish I could do that. I just
Yeah.
don't do that description. It's like, I tend to, when I'm writing, it's almost like a movie playing in my head.
Yeah.
And just kind of moving along with what the character does. I don't really stick in one place very long to really, it's like, I have no idea what kind of car Minnie drives.
Okay.
It's a sedan. I don't think I've even ever said what color it was because part of that's intentional because that would mean I would have to write it down and remember it from book to book.
Yeah.
That's a problem for me. Some people are really good at doing that. Me, not so much. I had some reader, because every once in a while, Minnie goes and gets pizza or a sub at the Fat Boy sub shop there. And apparently, I've said in multiple books what Minnie's favorite pizza was.
Oh,
some reader called me out and said, it's like, well, this book, it was this kind, and this book, it was that
I
kind.
think that's multiple. It's really
I know what I'm saying. It's like, Minnie altered our favorite kind. And she goes, well, no, but she goes back to the other kind in the next book. I don't know, the author couldn't remember.
It's just different kind of kind, like different multitudes. It's all good.
Oh,
So-
it was funny. It was funny. It's like, the author just didn't remember. She didn't
Yeah.
know.
Especially when you're doing 12 books, like it's a lot of details to keep in
Yes. I have the manuscript I'm working on right now. It's due the end of August. And luckily there's an automatic 30-day extension because, I'm not done yet. But where's I going with this? Don't remember.
It's all the details.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When I'm writing, it's like I don't want to interrupt thank you for caught me there. The flow of writing. I don't want to because I can write typically in I have 10 minutes here, 20 minutes here, 10 minutes here. So I don't want to stop the kind of flow when I'm doing first draft stuff. So I just write XX it's like XX, which means something I have to look up. And so and I'll just come back later and fill that in with something from another book or something from another part of the manuscript. I just have to check it out later. And I was looking at it the other day because I compile it all after doing the dailies. And it's like, wow, this thing is just riddled with XXs. It's good.
But I realize
Because I'm writing number 13 now. It's like, there's a lot of books so sometimes I cheat and I intentionally write vague. It's like Minnie, it's like, she'll wonder, it's like, was that or that? And that way, if I cheat writing like that, I don't have to look it up.
Yeah.
So lazy. Yeah. Yes.
I think it gets you, it keeps it moving. It's not so bogged down by the detail. It's like, they don't done better than perfect. Like, you don't have to do perfectionism. You can just do it, just done. It keeps you going. It keeps the story moving forward because it's time. People evolve, like things change. I don't know about you, but I have hyperfixation about the most random shit. So like food is one of those. Like I love something more now, and then I'm gonna eat it so many times that then I don't want to eat it ever again. and I've been this way for 40 years. Like it just changes. Like what I like 5 books ago is very different from what I like now. Like So it is all good. It's just laid down, like your characters evolve. It's done better than perfect. It's just getting you to where you need to go next.
Right.
At the live.
Glee.
Yes. Laurie, tell us where you can find out why.
Books are on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, pretty much everywhere. I actually don't have a website right now, but I'm fairly active on Facebook. So the Laurie Cass Facebook page.
Laurie, thank you so much for being on the show.
Yeah, well, I appreciate the invite.
Thanks for joining me on this episode of the What to Read Next podcast. If you enjoy our bookish conversations and want more recommendations, don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Also, head on over to the What to Read Next blog for a list of books mentioned in today's show. Happy reading!